Hi, my name is Cheryl Stevenson. In July 2005, at age 47, I was diagnosed with EOAD, early onset Alzheimer's disease. The neurologist said that this was the only diagnosis that he could come up with. He told me that my diagnosis was mostly based on my PET scan results. The results stated that my PET scan was abnormal in a pattern that implicates Alzheimer's disease. He said that because of my age, that I should get a second diagnosis. A few months later, a second neurologist changed my diagnosis to MCI, mild cognitive impairment. In early 2014, I saw a third neurologist, and he wanted me to have some neuropsychological testing. I was referred to a neuropsychologist. After interviewing me, he agreed that I should have the testing done. After about 4 hours of testing, in September 2014, I got the results. It confirmed the MCI diagnosis. MCI means that I don't have dementia, but that my brain doesn't function like most people my age. I have problems with my short-term memory, comprehension, sometimes long-term memory, problem solving, making decisions, word-finding problems, losing things, and getting lost. MCI doesn't always progress to dementia, so I actually could keep this diagnosis indefinitely. From what I have read, only a small percentage of people with MCI will progress to dementia. In February 2021, I submitted a saliva test through a DNA website. It showed that I have one copy of the E4 variant in the APOE gene. This means that I have a slight increased risk of developing late-onset Alzheimer's disease. In April 2023, I had an updated neuropsychological evaluation with a new neuropsychologist. It was 4 hours long. May 10th, 2023, I got the results from my testing. The neuropsychologist compared my test results with 2014 results. She said that there was a lot of decline to be concerned about, and that clearly it is MCI or something else. She mentioned FTD and Alzheimer's disease. She said that my test results didn't give a clear picture as to what is going on. She told me that it is complicated. She said that right now she can't make a definitive diagnosis. The neuropsychologist referred me to my neurologist, but she wants me to get a new PET scan. Unfortunately, I found out from my insurance company that it will cost me about $350 for the PET scan. I have decided not to spend the money on that. I am fine with not knowing whether I still have MCI or whether I have progressed to dementia. In 2005, after getting 2 diagnoses, EOAD and MCI, I didn't get the MCI diagnosis confirmed until 2014. I am okay with not knowing my correct diagnosis. In 2024, I will have another neuropsychological evaluation. I think that if it shows more decline than 2023, then I will probably have a PET scan done. It will be compared to my 2005 PET scan. I am now 66 years old. I was diagnosed 19 years ago. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I refer to as the elephant in the room. Because I live with a memory impairment, I will be using a typed script to help me stay on task, because I would like this video to flow well. I will be using some journal entries that I've written over the years. November 6, 2020. Sometimes I feel as though my memory impairment is like the elephant in the room. My children and I don't really talk about my memory impairment. I guess that it could be referred to as the elephant in the room. In other words, the elephant represents the memory impairment and its symptoms. Someone might be aware that the symptoms are present, but no one wants to talk about it. Perhaps it is easier to ignore the symptoms rather than talk about it and use the time to educate themselves. If the symptoms are being ignored, does that mean they don't exist? Unfortunately, ignoring the symptoms doesn't mean that they aren't there. I think that it is better to talk about the memory impairment rather than ignore it. An elephant would be very difficult to ignore. A memory impairment is part of my life, but no one seems to want to talk about it. Could it be that they are unaware that this is happening to me? Is my family ignoring any symptoms that they notice? My family has known about my memory impairment symptoms since before my diagnosis. Soon after my diagnosis, my 3 children were told about the diagnosis. April 6, 2022. I'm tired of sometimes feeling like my family thinks that I'm stupid. It would be nice if they would try to educate themselves on what it is like for me. Perhaps it is just easier for them to avoid talking about the elephant in the room. The thing that everyone knows is there, but no one wants to talk about it. May 3rd, 2022. Sometimes it feels like the memory impairment is the elephant in the room. People are aware of it, but no one wants to talk about it. This is something that I journaled today, March 3rd, 2024. I think that life would be easier for me if people who knew about my diagnosis wanted to talk about it. I think that I would feel more comfortable talking to them. I don't think that I would have as much anxiety worrying about forgetting what I wanted to say or worrying about trying to find the right words. Whether someone's diagnosis is MCI, mild cognitive impairment, or dementia, memory impairments need to come out of the closet. They need to be talked about, like when someone is diagnosed with cancer, COPD, or heart disease. But living with dementia or MCI, no one wants to talk about it. Why? Why? It needs to be talked about. Memory impairments need to be talked about until it isn't uncomfortable to have these conversations. It also needs to be talked about so that the person who has the memory impairment feels understood and supported. The memory impairment should not be ignored. It needs to be talked about so that people living with a memory impairment feel more comfortable around people who don't have a memory impairment. And I know this from experience. Unless you live with a memory impairment, you don't really know how hard it is. The reason that I make these videos is to help other people. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have found it helpful, please share it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.